It is now my complete pleasure to be sitting next to Ah Young Hong, who you heard thus far at this festival sing the soprano solo line in Michael Hirsch's I Hope We Get a Chance to Visit Soon, as well as this afternoon you heard her sing the Kotcheff-Ah fragments. She is a champion of new and old music. She's also singing Monteverdi and Handel. She's soloed with major ensembles around the world, from Baltimore Symphony, Ensemble Dal Niente, Ensemble Klang, and she's a faculty member at Peabody Conservatory, my alma mater. Welcome to the live broadcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so let's begin with your general Ojai experience. What's the vibe like here? Is this your first time here in Ojai?
This is my first time. First of all, the community is absolutely wonderful. The kindest people, so welcoming and so curious about everything, all the arts, and this has been the most amazing audience. I've really interacted with some fine audience members, but this is the most interactive. I go out on the lawn and they approach you and they say, "That was fantastic.
Yeah.
I really connected with that piece." So I'm incredibly appreciative of this audience so much.
So one feature of this festival, and why you have to come here to this festival, is the artists hang out right on the lawn with the audience members after the show, and you can ask your questions, you can say your opinions, and have a chit chat, right?
Yes. There was one woman that came up to me I think it was earlier today, perhaps after the Kurtak, I don't know. Everything is starting to blend together. But she was talking about the piece that I performed last night, Michael Hirsch's piece, and she personally has gone through cancer, and she is a survivor, and she connected with it so profoundly, and for her to be so honest with me and to open up and tears in her eyes, and I felt emotional. I was so moved by her.
Yeah.
And that is exactly the kind of interaction that I would love to have with my audience members, and so yes, I love that so much.
That's like the Ojai experience.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that piece from last night, the world premiere of Michael Hirsch's I Hope We Get a Chance to Visit Soon. Can you just first kind of set up this piece and just talk about generally what is it before you dive into it too deep?
I think that one of the most unique elements of the piece is that the text is from the emails that Michael Hirsch received from his late friend Mary O'Reilly, and what is different for me is so far I have only sung poetry, and there is some kind of a barrier when you sing poetry, because there's something is very metaphoric and beautiful, and there's some thought behind it, whereas an email, when you send to a friend, it's really unfiltered. Yes, you filter it somewhat, but usually to a close friend, it's just, this is what I'm going through.
And personal.
Absolutely. And for me to take on the voice of his friend was incredibly daunting, and so that's why this piece has so much power, because it's an actual person's just immediate thoughts. There is an immediacy and something very, very intimate that comes through her text, and also the beautiful poetry of Mary Elson. Miss Elson.
Yes. Rebecca.
Rebecca, thank you. Mary O'Reilly and Rebecca Elson, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And she says she captures all her personal experiences in such a visceral and profound way, and so I think the texts are so complementary. It's a huge responsibility, and it's a responsibility that I absolutely am honored to take on.
So as a performer, what is different for you then about attacking this text and taking it on and embodying it? What is different in how you prepare for it?
I have not done anything that different, because if I really think about it too much, then I say no, I don't want to, because it's just too personal. However, I have spoken to the composer, and I said I don't know her voice. I don't know her very well. We can talk about her all day long, but I still don't think I know her enough. And he said, just be you.
Yeah.
Just be you. Did the opera. Just be you.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. I'm really going to trust the music and hope that the words will come through in the most honest way. And it's true. Yeah, I always trust the music. Always trust his music.
So you just brought it up. Can you talk about your collaboration with Michael on this piece specifically, and the back and forth, and how it came to life?
Well, I actually like to let him just write. He has an amazing ear. He's heard me since 2012, and I trust him 100%. He knows where my weaknesses are. He knows where I shine. He understands my. I don't have limitations. I don't think I have limitations. I can't sing Queen of the Night. That's my limitation. but he knows my range, and he also likes to take me into vulnerable places in my voice. It doesn't hurt, but it is emotionally vulnerable. He has an insane ear. He knows what I do, every note that I sing. So I honestly don't ask him, or I don't say, let's have a conversation about what I would like to sing. I just let him do it because I know he is out there to protect me and to let me be the best performer I can be.
Yeah. So from what I heard last night, not only was the music musically, emotionally challenging, but actually also physically challenging. Like, I mean, from my perspective, you were like singing like high as all hell for a long time. Am I right?
Yes. I remember getting the opera in 2012. It was really heavy.
That was the first opera.
The first. This one is more of a sort of an elegy ensemble.
On the
piece.
Threshold of Winter.
On the Threshold of Winter is a monodrama for one soprano, 2 hours long. There's an intermission, and I remember first working on the piece and thinking, this is really challenging vocally. And I had to work on it a lot, and it would take a long time. Each movement would take a long time to learn because physically it was very difficult to sing. And hindsight for me, I think that I was trying to put too much of myself into the music instead of just allowing the notes to just go through my body. Technically, it was an immense transformation for me. I learned so much from his first piece that I got from him, and I really had to rehash my technique, and I feel like I've come out on the other side so much stronger, and I can do these high notes consecutively over and over again, and I feel I'm okay because I know how to approach it now.
Yeah, just so it's clear, last night's performance, it was 1 hour and 20 minutes, so it's a big, hefty piece. Can I ask you, talk about the process of putting a piece like that together, and also just the general process of like giving a world premiere? Can you talk about that?
I actually think that world premiere is part of my life now with Michael Hirsch because he doesn't have dozens and dozens of soprano repertoire. Would you like to sing this piece? No, that's not what happens. It's I'm going to write another piece and it has you in it. So I'm actually spoiled, perhaps. I don't know if that's the right word. I feel very privileged. I premiere a lot of his pieces, and I believe that that's an exciting thing because it's a new piece every year, every 2 years that I get to share with the rest of the world. I feel that my calling is to advocate for certain composers, and especially Michael Hirsch. I hope to have more composers in my repertoire. At this time, it is Michael Hirsch, and so I'm excited that I can say that we have this experience. It is very difficult to practice his music because it is challenging, and I have to pace myself because you can't do the whole thing in an hour.
Exactly. So for just to lift the curtain a little bit,
yes.
How does a piece go from you in Baltimore, you arrive here, and somehow from that moment you arrive here, it goes to that stage in the course of a week, and how does that occur?
That's kind of scary, but at the same time you go, you're performing with really fantastic musicians. Mahler Chamber Orchestra, Tito Munoz, Kira Duffy, really fantastic musicians, and so we just bring the best that we can, and we go like this. We pay a lot of attention to Tito because he's a maestro, and He has wonderful experience with Michael's music, so we are really fortunate to be working with the finest musicians. Ojai has brought in some of the most amazing artists, and
Historically as well, every year.
absolutely, and so I'm just so privileged to be working with them. So it's scary, but at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, it's working.
Yeah,
we're doing it.
yeah.
We're doing it.
Can I read you this Kotcheff-Ah quote about Hirsch's music and have your reaction to it?
Yes, of course.
She says, "The despair in Hirsch's music makes it a necessary experience to play and to listen to. There is nothing you can compare it to."
Absolutely true. I agree.
It's a necessary experience.
It is. It is. It's a responsibility that I feel. I don't know. I cannot say that this is a responsibility that everyone should take on, but definitely for me and definitely for Patricia, is that we feel very passionately about certain topics and certain emotions and certain relationships or lack thereof that occur in this world, and we embrace his music because it really encourages us to look in that direction. It's a very tough direction,
Yeah.
but I feel responsible
Yeah.
to go there.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we talk about the Kafka fragments from this afternoon?
Yes. That was 180, wasn't it?
Yeah, really. So let's just begin with an overall explanation of what is that piece.
Oh my gosh, it's philosophical. It is. It's almost like a precocious child, or an old man saying really stupid things.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant, and at the same time, so refreshingly. I don't know. It's really brilliant, absolutely. But I think at its core, it's philosophical. It's just this wonderful moment that's captured in these little fragments. Obviously, there were probably more things said around that little statement.
Yeah.
But Kotcheff was a genius to extract that and make these gems. And they are exactly what they are. They just allow us to just think about little moments of life. And they're so profound. They're such simple statements, but so profound. It's like someone said this to you already at some point or another, and then it was said again with this kind of music, and you go, oh,
Yeah.
yes, of course.
Mhm,
So,
yeah.
yes.
So the piece is it's a series of fragments from Kafka's journals, diaries,
yes, some
and letters.
and it just,
And
yes.
Kotcheff pulls them out
Yes.
and just puts them, and it's only for violin and soprano. So if we talk about polar opposite of Michael Hirsch, just stripped down, we're dealing with like just these microcosms, these little things, right?
Yes.
And I mean, how for you, how do you flip the switch in your brain of like, from one night, the heavy music, to then that?
Right. I actually think that it's interesting. When Michael's music and Kotcheff's music is so different, but the intensity and the density, even though Kotcheff is it's just so transparent at times, but the power is, I think, equal. Perhaps power in Michael's piece is the timing and the density that goes from the first minute to the 5 and the 10 and the 20 and the 30. It just continues to grow and grow and grow, and there's so many levels and so much complexity. Whereas Kotcheff, complexity, but it's so delicate, like these little tiny petit fours, but the message is as profound.
Yes.
And one little system, I don't know how many bars a system may have, but it's so short, but it's packed with so much there.
Yeah.
So in a sense, they're both profound and just something that I carry around. Like the scores are, heavy.
Yes, literally heavy.
They're heavy, and I feel the weight on my shoulders, and I must say this with responsibility, all of these things.
Yeah.
But yes.
One last question. Can you speak about the collaboration with Kotcheff-Ah on that piece and working together?
So we met a couple years ago. She was doing violin concerto for Michael in Minnesota, and she goes, "Would you like to do the Kafka fragments?" And I said, "Yes." Sure, because I didn't know them at that time.
Yeah.
And then I purchased the score, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is really hard. So I remember meeting her, and I was really taken with her when she played the violin concerto. She was so passionate, and she carried the same kind of fire and just this desperate desire to connect with the world and share her innermost thoughts with the world, and that's what I want to do as well. Of course, everybody wants to do the same, but it's the way she did it that I really connected, and perhaps it was Michael's music that really brought us together.
Yeah.
However, when we hang out, it's really, we're so goofy, and that kind of relationship, I feel that it just kind of transformed itself onto the stage, and it was a very natural process. She's very kind, she's so generous, and she's so supportive, and she's one of the most amusing and amazing and most generous artists I've ever worked with, and I hope to do a lot more with her.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Ojai broadcast, and I look forward to hearing more from you down the line.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.